Hello guys, welcome to Anita Crochet. My name is Anita and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to make this I think it was Fashion Nova that posted this, so I'm just trying to recreate this skirt. It's a fringe skirt, okay, and it's asymmetrical. So first of all, I am going to be working with Robin 100% acrylic. It's 100 grams because this is chunky, okay. And you are going to need a pair of scissors. I'm going to be working with a 4.5mm hook, a darning needle, and lastly a tape measure. Okay, so let's get started. We are going to get our yarn and make a magic circle. Now we are going to yarn over and insert our hook into the circle, work a single crochet, chain 2, then work a double crochet, chain 1, work 2 double crochets into the circle, chain 1, work 2 double crochets, chain 1 and work 2 double crochets. So literally we have 8 stitches because the 2 single crochets right here acted as a stitch, and now these 7 double crochets we have worked so far. So here we have it, and we shall pull our end. There we go. And now here we are going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yarn over, skip this and this stitch, the first and second stitch. Now into the chain gap we are going to work 3 double crochets all in this very same chain gap, then chain 1, skip 2, and then work 3 double crochets into the next chain gap, chain 1, 3 double crochets again in that very same chain gap. So we have 6 double crochets into this chain gap, and now chain 1, skip 2, and then into the chain gap you work 3 double crochets, then chain 1, skip 1 into this very last stitch, that's the second chain stitch of the 2 that started the row, you work a double crochet. Now here we are going to chain 2. You can chain 3 if you're chaining loosely as I am. So turn your work into this very first chain gap. We work 2 double crochets, because this 3 the chain 3 or chain 2 you have worked here is going to act as a stitch. Now once again you're going to chain 1 and skip 3, then work 3 double crochets into the next chain gap, chain 1, skip 3, work 3 double crochets into the next chain gap, and then chain 1, work 3 double crochets again in that very same chain gap. This is more like to have us have a corner, okay? So chain 1, skip 3 and work 3 double crochets into the next chain gap, chain 1, skip 3, work 2 double crochets into the chain gap, and then 1 double crochet into the third chain stitch of the 5 that started the previous row. So this is what we have. And now for the next row we are going to chain 3 into this very first stitch right here. We are going to work 2 double crochets just like that, chain 1, skip 2 and work 3 double crochets into the next chain gap, chain 1, skip 3, work 3 double crochets into the next chain gap, chain 1, skip 3, work 3 double crochets into the next chain gap, and then chain 1 again. In that very same chain gap we work 3 double crochets, chain 1, skip 3, work 3 double crochets into the next chain gap, chain 1, skip 3, work 3 double crochets into the next chain gap, and lastly we chain 1 and into the very last stitch, which is the second or third chain stitch of the 3 that started, or of the 2 that started the previous row, you work 3 double crochets. So this is how our work looks like. And now for the next row, we are going to chain 2 and turn your work into this very first stitch. You work 2 double crochets just like that, chain 1, skip 2 and work 3 double crochets into the next chain gap, chain 1, skip 3, work 2 double crochets into the next chain gap, chain 1, skip 3, work 3 double crochets. Okay, just work 3 double crochets into the chain gaps, and do the same. When you get here at the corner, you will work 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, all in this very same chain gap, chain 1, skip 3, work 3 double crochets into this chain gap, chain 1, skip 3, work 3 double crochets once again into this very same chain gap, and do the same for the next chain gap. Now here you chain 1, skip 2, and then into the very last stitch right there you work 3 double crochets. So we have come to the end of our row, and so far we have 5 rows. Okay, so now here, this is where I'm going to change the stitch pattern, and I'm going to chain 2 and turn my work. Into this very first stitch I will work a double crochet, and into the next stitch I will work a double crochet, so as the next. Okay, and into the chain gap I work 1 double crochet. So clearly we are working 1 double crochet into every stitch, okay, inclusive of the chain 1 gaps that we have. When you get to the chain 1, you work 1 double crochet. When you get to the 3 double crochets, you work 3 double crochets into the 3 stitches. And then right here you work 1 double crochet, and just go on and on until you get to the corner. That's where I'm going to meet you guys, and of how we get through the corner. So this is it. Into this chain 1 space in the corner right here, I am going to work 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, all in the very same stitch. So we have 4 double crochets in the corner, and now into this stitch we go ahead working 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way until we come to the end of our row. So right here, once we get to the end of our row, that's here, we are going to work a mesh stitch. So we are going to chain 5, 2 of these act as a stitch and then 3 as a chain gap. Turn our work, and we are going to skip, as I said, 2 of these act as a stitch, so that means the stitch has to be there. So we skip 1, 2, and now into the next we work a single crochet, and then chain 3, skip 2, and into the next stitch you work a single crochet, chain 3, skip 2, work a single crochet into the next stitch, chain 3, skip 2. So I'll continue working you 3 chains and skipping 2, then a single crochet into the next stitch. So I have 2 stitches left. I will just chain 3 and skip the 2 into this chain gap. I'm going to work a single crochet and then chain 3, work a single crochet once again into that very same chain gap, chain 3, skip the 2 stitches and work a single crochet in there in the next stitch, chain 3, go ahead working this until you have come to the end of your row. And right here you have 2 stitches to skip, and then into the last stitch you work a single crochet into the last stitch, chain 4, turn your work. See what we have. Once you turn your work, you are going to work a single crochet into this very first chain gap, and then chain 3, work a single crochet in the next chain gap, continue with this until you get to the corner. So once here we are going to chain 3 into this chain gap at the corner, we work a single crochet, chain 3 into this very same chain gap in the corner, we work a single crochet again, and then chain 3, go ahead work a single crochet in the next chain gap, then continue with chaining 3 and working 1 single crochet into the next chain gap until you come to the end of your row. Now here, once here, you are going to chain 2 and then work a single crochet into the second chain stitch of the 5 that started the previous row. So this is how our work looks like. And now at this point we chain 2 and turn our work. This chain 2 won't act as a stitch, so into this very first stitch we work a double crochet, and into the first chain gap we work 1 double crochet. Into the single crochet stitch right there we work 1 double crochet, and now work 2 double crochets into the next chain gap, 1 double crochet into the single crochet stitch, 2 double crochets into the next chain gap, 1 double crochet in the single crochet stitch, and this you are going to repeat until you get to the chain gap which is at the corner. Yeah, we have come to the corner, and into the single crochet I have worked a double crochet into the corner. Now the chain gap at the corner, I'm going to work 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets again in this very same chain gap, so we have 4 double crochets into the corner, and then we shall work 1 double crochet into the next single crochet stitch and 2 double crochets into the chain gap, and we are going to go on with this until we get to the very last chain gap. So once we get to the very last chain gap, we shall work 1 double crochet into the chain gap, and then the last double crochet into the second chain stitch of the 4 that started the previous row. So this is what we have. So to work the next row, we chain 2 into this very first stitch, we work 2 double crochets. This is just to keep us having this straight line going on here, and then we shall work 1 double crochet into every stitch until we get to the chain 1 space in the corner. So yes, when you get to the chain 1 space in the corner, you work 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets again in this very same chain gap. And now here you are going to continue working 1 double crochet into every stitch until you get to the very last stitch. Okay, and in the very last stitch we are going to work 2 double crochets just like we started. Okay, so here we Now at the very last stitch, so into that very last stitch we work 2 double crochets all in this very same stitch. This is what we have. For the next row, we are going to chain to turn our work. Into the very first stitch we work 2 double crochets and then work 1 double crochet into every stitch until you get to the chain 1 space in the corner. So just continue working this until you are here, and right here you work 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets all in this very same chain gap, then work 1 double crochet all the way until you get to the last stitch, and into the last stitch you work 2 double crochets. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys work this row on your own, and I'm going to meet you on the row after that. So this is how my work looks like. Okay, and now I'm going to work the last row, so the next row. So now for this row I am going to chain 2 and turn my work. I'm going to work 3 double crochets into the first stitch, just like that, and I'm going to chain 2, skip 2 stitches, then work 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches, chain 2, skip 2, work 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches, chain 2, skip 2, work 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches, and I'm going to continue with this, chaining 2 and skipping 2, then working 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches until I get to the corner. Here I come, I have 1 stitch left. Okay, so I'm going to chain 2 and skip this 1 stitch. Into the corner I will work 3 double crochets, chain 1, work 3 double crochets again in this very same chain gap. Now I'm going to skip this next stitch, so I'll chain 2, skip 1, and then work 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches, chain 2, skip 2, work 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches, chain 2, skip 2. So just continue with this until you get to the very last stitch, and in the very last stitch you know that we have to work 3 double crochets in that very same stitch. So yes, right here we skip 2 and into the very last stitch we work 3 double crochets all in this very same stitch. Now these are the stitches I've been working with, so clearly like the 3, this, and this. I'm just working them repeatedly. And for me, if I get my tape measure and measure what I have right here, I think I have the width I want, because this is going to be our waist. This is going to be our waist. Okay, and the more we go wider, the more it also gets wider. And for you, if you are still needing to go on and on with your waist, you just need to work something that fits, something that measures to the width of your waist, because it needs to be in position to stretch out through your hips, because we are not going to have any increments for our hips. And if you're 30, I know that your work can like stretch out to get through your hips. If you feel like your hips are larger, you can just work something a little larger that you know is going to be in position to go through your hips. Okay, so now you are going to follow these very same steps to make another piece. Once you have your piece that fits your waist complete, if you don't, you will just go ahead and just keep following the stitch patterns we have been doing. And once you have it, like I do, I have my piece right here. I actually had to attach the two on my last row. So I'm just going to take out one row so that I work it attached to this, so that it's easier for you guys to really understand how to attach. So now when working the last row of your second piece, which is this is what you will do. Okay, so when working your last row, you will chain 2 and you will insert your hook into the very last stitch of this first piece right there, and then pull through yarn. Now yarn over, work your 3 double crochets into the very first stitch of the second piece, okay? And then chain 2, skip 2, work 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches, chain 2, skip 2, work 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches, chain 2, skip 2. So you already know how to work this because I've taken you through that when you're working your first piece. So just do this until you get to the very last stitch. That's where I'm going to meet you guys and show you how to attach these two, okay, on this end. Okay, so just work this row the way it has to be worked. So once you get to the very last stitch, you're going to chain 2, skip 2, work your 3 double crochets into the very last stitch. Remember, we need to attach this to this, so we shall get this and work a slip stitch into the last stitch of the front piece, okay? So clearly we have attached the two just like that, and you can see that this is what we have, okay? So now to work the next row, we are just going to work a slip stitch, 2 slip stitches, literally 3 until we get to this chain gap, okay? Now here we are going to chain 2 and work 2 double crochets. This chain is going to act as a stitch. So you chain 2, skip 3 and work 3 double crochets into the next chain gap, chain 2, skip 3, work 3 double crochets in the next chain gap, chain 2, skip 3, do the same until you get to the corner. Now right here you chain 2 to get through the corner, you skip 3, work 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets all in this very same stitch, chain 2, skip 3, go ahead with this pattern until you get to the very last chain gap of this piece. So yes, now as you can see we have this joint here, and now into the last chain gap of the front piece we shall work 2 double crochets and then work 2 double crochets together into this chain gap and the next chain gap, which is the first chain gap across the other side of the back piece, just like that, okay? And then work 2 double crochets into this. See what we have? We are now joining these two together, okay? I hope you guys have understood this. I'm going to let you guys work this, like you chain 2 and work into the next chain gap. You skip 3, work 3 double crochets into the next chain gap, okay? So since we have gone past this, I'm going to let you guys work this on your own until you get to this very last chain gap right here of this piece, and that's where I'm going to meet you and show you what to do. So once you get right here, you are going to chain 2, and into this very last chain gap you work 2 double crochets, okay, and then work the third incompletely just like that, and then get over to that chain 2 that started the previous this row on the other side, and then pull through, and this will act as 2 double crochets together. Okay, you can see that we are now starting to like run down without spreading out, but also keeping this shape going. Okay, remember we just chained 1. Now you will turn your work. This time we are working anti-clockwise. Okay, now work your 3 slip stitches, actually 4, until you get to this chain gap. Okay, now right here you will chain 2 and work 2 double crochets into this chain gap, skip 3, work 3 double crochets into the next chain gap. And this you are going to do because I'm no longer going to work the row, the entire row for you guys. Okay, I just want to get to the point where we are stitching the 2 ends together, so that I show you guys how to do that. Okay, so just work your row like this, going all the way up, and I'm going to meet you right here. Okay, just work your row all the way past the corner, and I'll meet you right here and then show you what to do. So I finished working my row, and this is where I am. I'm going to cross over to this side. So here I'm going to chain 2, and into this very last chain gap of this piece I am going to work 2 double crochets, and then 2 double crochets together. One should be on this end, and the other you are going to skip 6 stitches and then work the second double crochet together on the other end. Okay, you see that? And now here you will work your other 2 double crochets. Now from here, since we have crossed over to this end, I'm going to let you guys work your row until you get to this point. That's where I'm going to meet you to show you how to end the row right here. So let me meet you guys there. So I'm right here. I have this very last chain gap in which I have to work my stitches. So I will work 2 double crochets into the chain gap. So this is what we shall do. It will be incomplete like that, and I'll cross over and work a slip stitch into the chain, the second chain stitch of the 2 that started the row. Okay, so clearly this is what we have. Okay, so that shows we are literally just going down and not, you know, going wider and wider. So for the next row, which is also still going to be a granny stripe, I am going to turn my work, chain 1, turn your work, work 4 slip stitches until you get to the chain gap right there, and then you will chain 2, work 2 double crochets into this chain gap, and then work this whole entire part on your own until you get right here. That's where I'll meet you and then show you how to cross over. Yeah, so let me get you guys there still. So I finished working my end, and I am right here where I have to join the 2. So I will work my 2 double crochets and then work the next double crochet, having to have skip 6 double crochets in between, and then crossing over to work 2 double crochets together. Then I'll work 2 double crochets into the chain gap on the other end. Yeah, continue the stitch pattern all the way like this until you get right here. That's where I'm going to meet you and then show you how to get over to the other side. So I'm right here and I have to stitch these two together, so I will work my 2 double crochets into the last chain gap, and then to work my last double crochet it will be incomplete, and I'll just cross over, skip these 6 stitches, and then work a slip stitch into the chain stitch that started the row. Okay, then chain 1. So you see that our work is actually now straight, and this is how it looks on this end as well. And I'm really happy that this is turning out like this. I don't know, I just love how the look of it is. And now what I am going to do is I'm going to show you how to work the next row, because the next row is going to be different. It's not the granny stripe. So for the next row we are just working plain double crochets into almost every stitch. So once you have your chain 1, you will turn your work and work a slip stitch until you have come to the chain gap right there. And here you are going to chain 2 and then work a double crochet. The chain 2 is acting as a stitch. Okay, now into the next double crochet you work 1 double crochet and do the same for the next stitch. So once you come to the chain gap you will work 2 double crochets. Okay, and then continue working 1 double crochet into every stitch and 2 double crochets into the chain gap. And this you are going to do until you get to the corner. So once at the corner right there, yeah, into the chain 1 stitch you're going to work 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, all in this very same stitch, and then go ahead work 1 double crochet into every stitch and then 2 double crochets into the chain gap. So you are going to do this until you get right here into this chain gap, of which we have to cross over to this side. So that's why I'm going to meet you guys and then show you what to do. Now once here you are going to work 1 double crochet just like that, and the second will be incomplete. So we yarn over, skip 6 stitches and cross over into the next chain gap, work 2 double crochets together, and then work your second double crochet. Okay, because in the chain gap we were chaining 2, that's why we are having 2 double crochets into the chain gaps. Okay, so here you will continue with 1 double crochet into every stitch and 2 double crochets into the chain gap. Okay, just like I have showed you on the other side. And I'm going to let you to work this. When you get to the corner you work 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, and then go ahead until you get to this point. That's where I'm going to meet you and then show you what to do and how to end the row. So once here you will work 1 double crochet and then work the second double crochet incompletely, skip these 6 stitches and cross over, work a slip stitch, then chain 1 to close up. So this is how our work looks like. So now we are going to turn our work, and we have to work 4 slip stitches. Okay, now here we shall chain 2. So this chain 2 is going to act as a stitch. So into the next stitch we work a double crochet, and then the third double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, so we chain 2 and we are going to skip 2, work 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches, chain 2, skip 2, work 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches, chain 2, skip 2, work 3 double crochets in the next 3 stitches, chain 2, skip 2, work 3 double crochets in the next 3 stitches, chain 2, skip 2. So just do this until we get to the corner. So I have 2 stitches left. So I'll skip these 2, and into the chain gap in the corner I'm going to work 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, all in this very same chain gap, you see that? So once again on this side we chain 2, skip 2, 1, 2. Okay, into the next you work your 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches, chain 2, skip 2, and you are going to do this until we get to the top here. So yeah, right here we are going to skip these 2 stitches, and here we work our double crochet, work a double crochet in the next stitch. Now into this, that means we are leaving 1, 2, 3, because at the end of the day what I want is us to skip 6 stitches as we are crossing over to this side. So right here we have this 1 and then 2 and then 3. Okay, this 1 is joined in here. Okay, that's why we may not like really get to understand that we are skipping like 6 stitches. So in here we work our double crochet that is incomplete and skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, into the next right here we work our double crochet together, and then work your 2 double crochets into the next 2 stitches, chain 2, skip 2, work 2 double crochets into 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches, chain 2, skip 2. I just want to get you to the corner and then let you guys work all the way up to join the last bit of it. So yeah, as you can see you have 2 stitches left, so you'll chain 2, and into the chain gap you work your 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. So right now you know what to do. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys work all the way up until you get to the last stitch. I'll just get back to show you how to join the last stitch on the other side, but clearly we have joined our skirt, and this is how it looks like. So once you come to the end of your row and you have worked your 2 double crochets, right here on the 3rd double crochet it shall be incomplete, so you skip the stitches, you will just skip them and then yarn, or sorry, get your hook into the 2nd chain stitch of the 2 that started the row, and then work a slip stitch to close up. Okay, then work a chain, and I'll just show you how our work looks like. See that? So this is my end. So for the next row I'll turn my work and work my slip stitches until I get to the chain gap right there, and here I'll chain 2, work 2 double crochets. Okay, this is going to act as a stitch and this will be the 2nd double crochet. So into the next 3 stitches you work 3 double crochets, and into the chain gap you work 2 double crochets. So clearly I am doing what I did on this row, working just double crochets into every stitch. When you get right here you work your double crochets into the 3 double crochets of the previous row, Into the chain gap, you work 2 double crochets. Into the next 3 stitches, you work 3 double crochets. So you are going to do this all the way. I'm just going to meet you right here to show you how to cross over to this end. But once you get right here, you know what to do. In the corner, you work 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. So let me let you guys work your row until you get right here, and I'll show you how to cross over to the other side. So I'm right here where I have to be working my stitches to get to the other side. So remember, in the chain gap we are working 2 double crochets. So I'll work my first double crochet, and the second I will make it incomplete, then yarn over, skip all these 6 stitches, cross over to the next chain gap on the other side, work my double crochet together, and work my second double crochet. And now here you will turn your work and work your double crochets as you have to. Get to the corner, work as I told you, and I'm going to meet you right here and show you how to close up, okay? So once you get to the very last chain gap, I will work my 1 double crochet and then work the second double crochet incompletely, cross over to the second chain stitch of the 2 that started the row, and then work a slip stitch in there, then close up. So I have come to the end of my row. So I want to work my next row, and here I am going to turn my work my slip stitches, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, now in here I'm going to chain 4, skip 1, work a double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet into the next. So I'm going to do this chaining 1, working a double crochet, skipping 1, and then working a double crochet into the next stitch. And this is what I am going to do entirely through my row, this row. So I'm going to let you guys do this until you get to the corner. So yeah, as you can see, I skip 1, and into this very last one I will work my double crochet. So this is how it looks like. Okay, and here I'm going to chain 1 and chain 2, and then skip this chain gap and cross over into the next double crochet stitch and work my double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, continue working my stitches the way I should work them. So here I'm going to go on, and I'm going to meet you guys right here where you have to like cross over to the other side, then show you how to cross over. So when you get right here, you see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to skip this and work an incomplete double crochet right there. So I'm going to skip 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Into the 6th on the other side is where I'm going to work my double crochet together. Okay, that's to cross over. And then continue with chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1, work a double crochet in the next stitch. And do this when you get right here. I showed you how to maneuver the corner. So I'm just going to meet you on this end to show you how to end your row. Okay, so you see that I have 5 stitches left in between. Okay, 1, 2, then 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this double crochet should be incomplete. Just cross over into the 3rd chain stitch of the 4 that started the row and work a slip stitch. So I am confident with the length I have for my skirt. If you still want to go all the way down, you can just keep repeating the stitch patterns I have showed you. At this point, I'm going to cut my yarn and start working on my waistline. I'm cutting my yarn at a length because I want the fringes to, like, you know, just continue from here. Let me just show you how to attach your fringe. Get my hook, insert it into this chain gap, and I'll just pull through, then yarn over and pull through the gap. Then I have my fringe, okay? So you'll just attach your fringes. Maybe you can skip one and then put into this, skip one and put into this. And to work my waist, I'm going to get a piece of my yarn and find a point on the sides where I can start from. Yes, so I'll insert my hook in there, work a chain, and then let's just work 2 chains, okay? So I'll get back and work a single crochet into this very same spot, just like that. Now I'm going to chain 2. I'll work a single crochet at the base of this double crochet post, chain 2, work a single crochet at the base of the next double crochet post, chain 2, work at the base of the next double crochet post, chain 2, work at the base, which is there. Now here I'm going to chain 2 and skip and then work at the top of the next double crochet post, okay? Chain 2, work at the base of this double crochet post, just like that. Chain 2, continue working at the base, chain 2, work at the base. So you see how it looks. Chain 2, I'll work into the center of my magic circle, work a single crochet, chain 2. Now start working at the top of the next double crochet post, and you are going to do this all the way around, okay, until you get back to the point where we started our work from. So here I am at the end of my row right here, and I am going to chain 2 and work a slip stitch into the chain 2 that started the row. Now from here I'm going to chain 2 and then work 1 double crochet, and into the chain gap I will work 2 double crochets, then 1 double crochet in the single crochet stitch, 2 double crochets into the chain gap, 1 double crochet into the single crochet stitch, and I'm going to go on and on with this for all the stitches all the way around until I get back to the very first stitch, and I'll work a slip stitch. So I've come to the end of my row, and for the next row I am going to turn my work, chain 2, work a double crochet into this stitch and a double crochet in the next, and then I'll chain 3, skip 3, 1 2 3, and into the 4th I will work a double crochet, then the second double crochet, chain 3, skip 3, work 2 double crochets into the next 2 stitches, chain 3, skip 3, work 2 double crochets into the next 2 stitches, and I'm going to do this all the way around until I come to the end of my row, and I'll work a slip stitch. So I'm right here and I've worked my slip stitch, so I'm going to chain 2 and into this very first stitch I will work 2 double crochets. Let me just work 3, okay? So I have my 3 double crochets, and into this chain gap right here I'll work a single crochet, chain 2, work my 3 double crochets, skip these 2, and into the chain gap I work a single crochet, chain to work 3 double crochets into this chain gap. Skip these 2 stitches. Into the next chain gap you work a single crochet, and you are going to repeat this all the way for all your stitches. So once you have your waist ready and you have worked chains for your drawstring, you will just get through this row where we worked 2 double crochets, then a chain 3. That's where you are going to get your drawstring run through, just like that. It's very, very simple. Thank you all for watching my tutorial. I hope to see you in my next tutorial. I'm looking forward to working a mesh of this same asymmetrical shape, and I'm hoping you guys will also love it. It's going to be an inspo by Wild X Dandy, and I'm going to be working it next after this. So I hope you love this tutorial. Let me see you all in my next tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.